Check.
1, 2, 3.
Check.
1, 2, 3.
Check.
1, 2, 3.
Perfect. All right.
See that's exactly, that feels like yeah, this guy should DJ all my shows. Like simple symmetry like that is like, yeah, this guy should DJ all my shows going forward because they're gonna be cool.
I still think we need to get a hold of an organization. World Class Revolution Pro will be a good one. Well, we can incorporate the heel and face DJs as part of the product.
I like that idea. I feel like somebody's going to take that idea if we don't get a chance to do it.
Hey, look, we can bully foot that shit because, like, if we see anybody, like, doing that at the show, we can walk up to them and be like, hey, you listen to the Broken Pencil and we can prove it. And this shit y'all doing is our shit, so...
Cease and desist, cuz.
Run your shit or cease and desist.
Cease and desist, cuz.
And speaking of wrestling DJs, shouts out to Tony Snow.
It's Tony Snow.
Fam, do you I don't know if you realize this shit. He started, I don't know if he started, but I know he's a founding member. He's a charter member of the Bullet Club DJs.
Wait, what? Wait, why is this club functioning and we're not in it?
Understand me. Tony Snow will be on this show.
Tony Snow.
Very, very, very soon.
What's up, Tony Snow? Shout out
what
to
up, DJ Tony Snow?
Hey.
Shouts out to Baconomics for the new album cover art.
Cover art.
Or actually EP. I fucks with Blaze One a long way. That's my guy.
Shout out to that hat.
He's a very misunderstood soul, Blaze One. And yeah, that's my guy still, you know. Don't follow.
We actually haven't had an opportunity to cross paths very often.
Very often.
Not because we've been on the same Final Fridays before.
I'm about to call you a liar.
No. That's why I choose my words carefully because words matter. So we've been on the same Final Friday bill a few times. He came through when I was at Team RKN. He would come through Roku Radio. So we've crossed paths. Just we don't cross paths very often.
Right.
Like people who rap on a high level probably should cross paths more often.
Yeah,
just because
I agree.
Because the forces of evil are out here trying to overtake our ears.
I highly encourage people who don't know like the rooted Dallas hip hop scene who listen to this podcast to come take a trip to Deep Ellum and dip in and out of bars and clubs and eateries and see what Dallas really has to offer outside of what you hear on the radio. And not that I'm slighting those who are on the radio, because there's some moves being made here in the Metroplex for some artists.
Right.
And I'm proud of that.
Absolutely.
But there's also people who deserve equal amount of shine who've been doing it for way longer. And like yourself, like the Blaze ones and the Baconomics.
Literally just sometime this year, maybe last year. I tell you what, it was last year when the Cypher came out. That's when I finally realized I'm a backpacker. Like I'm a really cool backpacker and I have all the hood credentials, but I'm a fucking backpacker. And
bro,
I just accepted it. That's what it is. I've been a backpacker probably all this time. I finally accepted it.
That's the biggest problem, is that you don't know you have the problem until you finally admit it.
So now I've admitted the fact that I'm a backpacker. Like I have a soft spot, a guilty pleasure soft spot for trap music. But the truth of the matter is I'm a backpacker because that's the crowd I shine with. I could jump on a trap record and perform and do my thing, and no one would know the difference. But at the end of the day, I'm a backpacker.
There was a sample that the Dirty Rotten Scoundrels used on the record way back, like 08, 09. That's like I said, first time I was on stage, I forgot what it was. But
if you remember any of the lyrics from the song, I'm pretty sure
I couldn't, man. I've drank so much since then.
Good Lord.
I don't know I can't think of what it was. It's some 70s funky shit though. I can tell you that much. But man, I can tell you that like when I'm on stage like backing people up or like hosting an event or whatever, or DJing an event, I never like forcefully put myself in a position to shine as a DJ for somebody or say that I DJ for XYZ okay. Unless the mood fits. Right. This shit happened on like a handful of times in Milwaukee as far as like the number of groups. Right. I was only there for 2 years, but I was DJing probably out of like a year, 40 weeks a year at one particular spot. Like I was in there.
There are only 52 weeks in a year.
That's what I'm saying. The other 12 I was probably out of town. Yeah, I was probably out of town, man. I was out there doing some shit, and like I said, only like a handful of times up there, and even here, like it was like Dirty Rotten Scoundrels slash. Now I'm going to say slash Dallas Zoo because I never knew what incarnation I got.
I mean, we would roll the dice on that shit too. Like you could book Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and get the whole zoo. Like we're a package deal, so you could book the Dallas Zoo and just get mainly Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, just depending on how we felt.
And then we have like J Rose and 80s Baby Entertainment, which was a shit. Shouts out Dinky, shouts out Bray Sonic, shouts out D Taylor,
right?
Super the Savior, whatever the fuck you at. Shouts out to you too, man. Like y'all, like y'all brought that shit out to me too. Crown Royal for the one event that y'all ever did, which was Blaze 1, the motherfucking Rapture, Dow Jones, and Dog Wonder. I DJ'd that shit.
Los.
I'm proud. What up, Los? I'm proud to say I did that shit, but that was the only time they ever performed together was that night. And y'all was on the bill too, but that was one of them nights where there was like multiple shit going on. They were at one venue, left that venue, came up to perform at the second venue, and then dipped out. Like it was just wild. But that's Dallas hip hop for you right there. Shit happens. We'll be on this shit all night, but this is like, welcome to the Broken Pencil Podcast. I am Wood.
You stay classy, internet. I'm Suave Burgundy.
Tonight we are both sipping.
Yeah,
both tipping. We got some erratas to correct real quick.
There's your music to start the show. You find that instrumental, you're going to put that right in there. Then I just set your marker.
Right there.
Yeah, it's that kind of show. Hey, buckle up. It's going to be that kind of show.
This shit bumpy as fuck already. Before we even go into an agenda, I got a shout out. I do a little hustling. And I ran across a cat named Alex in my hustles. Alex, I don't know where the hell he's from. He lives.
Shelly?
No, he lives in Plano, but he has a British accent.
Alex Wright?
No, not the Wunderkind. No,
Das Wunderkind?
No, definitely not. That's Wunderkind.
Das Wunderkind. Alex Wright.
No, but just Alex, my passenger.
Okay.
Alex is hopefully he's a pencil pusher at this point.
Okay.
He was on his way to San Antonio and we were
right
just talking about wrestling.
Okay.
And from our last episode, we were talking about shit that fucked up going into Hell in a Cell.
We got Houston, we got San Antonio.
Yeah, he was talking about shit that fucked up going into Hell in a Cell.
Right.
He told me that he said that he thinks that Strowman should have been the only person to win the belt and never have to cash in the Money in the Belt briefcase. Or Money in the Bank briefcase.
At this point, anything's better than what they've done.
I agree. I
absolutely agree.
But but if there's nothing else, it proves two things: that Alex is with the shit and that he applies broken pencil logic. Because
I feel like it would have been completely more compelling to find out what Braun Strowman would do if he became champion and still had the belt, still had the briefcase.
I agree. Well, we'll come back to all that because that goes into our Money in the Bank portion of the show, which we will be talking about. I know we're about a week late, but life happens.
Hell in a Cell.
This is going to be so worth it, though. We're going to start the show before we even go into our agenda.
Okay, let's do that.
Glaring omissions from our factions.
So look, let us first of all apologize for the fact that. Well, fuck that.
No, there's no apology. We had a conversation prior to the last show that we spitballed about 50 different factions, and we covered maybe 5 or 10 of them.
So look, as you're learning more about broken pencil logic, you're starting to see the fact that sometimes we pre-produce the show, sometimes we don't. And the last episode, our episode 10, was a complete freestyle.
No, I won't say that.
Episode 10 was majority freestyle tape.
No, it couldn't have been. We actually sat and talked about shit.
We didn't write it down.
You're right. There's the problem.
We didn't write it down. We were scatter shooting in before we started recording, and we named off all these different factions. Started recording, and literally we named off so many that it was impossible to go back and say the exact same thing the same way. So we had some glaring omissions to our glaring omissions list. First and foremost, the most egregious that we both take responsibility for.
Shouts out to Jazz Mac of formerly of the People Under the Stairs.
The fact that we did not name Steve Austin as a member of the Dangerous Alliance.
We apologize wholeheartedly.
I listened to that back and I was like, why have I not said Steve Austin yet? It happens. Just so you know, in the heat of the moment, that's how you know we're human. It happens. Steve Austin, yes, was an absolute member of the Dangerous Alliance.
I mean, we omitted him over Larry Zbyszko and Bobby Eaton.
I think what it was the fact that we were trying to explain that Bobby Eaton was in the group, or something we ended up explaining took away from the fact that, you know,
go back and listen to the Ty Dillinger episode of Broken Pencil BC.
The perfectly imperfect. The perfectly imperfected episode 10.
No doubt.
No doubt.
The Nation of fucking Nation.
The Nation of Domination was not mentioned.
How can we forget the humble beginnings of The Rock and the
If you go to our individual social media accounts and see what we look like, and then to realize that the Nation of Domination was not brought up, seems kind of egregious on our part.
Shouts out again to this time the Petty Messiah.
Yes.
We've had conversations about
Messiah.
Ahmed Johnson, who was at the tail end of his career.
He's our official 6-man tag team partner.
Oh man, he yeah, no doubt. If we ever go to the tournament, Deshaun St. Julian, the Petty Messiah, will get a belt for the third person in the 6-man.
We need 6-man tag team championships.
Yes, sir. Fortune 4.
Yes, Fortune 4.
Even though they're in TNA, or they were in TNA, and I mean they were a formidable faction. All main eventers in their own right.
Right.
Frankie Kazarian, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, and Bobby Roode. Robbie Roode. Triple threat in ECW.
Man, I don't know. That one's on me because that's from my wheelhouse. So, the franchise Shane Douglas with Francine, Chris Candido, and then there's this rotating merry-go-round for the third spot with Bam Bam Bigelow, Lance Storm. Did anybody else take that third spot?
Not that I remember. I mean, Shane Douglas and Chris Candido were the mainstays.
Taz jumped in really quick as part of a storyline.
Was he hokey pokey though, like in and out?
It was literally like in and out over a couple of weeks.
Team Angle. Yes. Angle and the world's greatest tag team.
Yes, Shelton Benjamin, Charlie Haas.
Man. Mexicools.
Yes, the lawnmower riding trio of Hispanics from the mid 2000s.
The juice is loose.
The use is loose. Juventud Guerrera, Psychosis with no mask, super crazy.
Super crazy.
Shout out to the LWO. We didn't name them.
Latino Heat.
The LWO. Shout out to La Parca. The chairman of WCW.
Or the Dance fam. And AKA now known as LA Park.
Yeah, La Parca was so over for that damn strut. Yeah. Ciclope. What's up, Ciclope? We see you.
Filthy Animals, fam.
The culo. Conan, Disco Inferno, Billy Kidman, Ray, Tigress, Feel My Shirt. That's enough.
Because Ray and Conan were tag champs, right?
Yes.
Man.
It might have been Kidman and Mysterio that were tag champs.
Either way, that we call Ray because of Conan and the Filthy Animals.
Shout out to Lil Ray.
Misfits in action.
Misfits! General Rection.
Lash LaRue.
Yeah, Lash LaRue. Was
it Corporal?
G.I. Bro.
Booker T.
Yeah, Corporal Punishment. Major Guns. Shout out to Major Guns. Who else was in that ragtag group? Well,
bringing that.
Shout out to the oddities. Kurgan, Earthquake.
What's my man with the had the Cartman T-shirt, fam?
That was John Tenta, but
right, it was John Tenta, but
Golga.
Yes, Golga.
Yeah, Kurgan.
Was China in there for a brief second or no?
Now it's Sable.
Sable
ended up being.
She was a sympathetic face to that.
She was a sympathizer to the oddities. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Camp Cornette though.
Yeah.
Owen, Bulldog, Yokozuna, Mr. Fuji. We throwing salt in people's eyes. How?
Yo, speaking of, while we're spitting off these names here, we actually went down a wormhole.
Man, we found the website of all websites.
I don't know what the hell I Googled, but I just clicked on it, and all this shit just popped up. Shouts out to the German website, cagematch.net.
Cagematch.net, all correct spelling.
They have databases for everything from events to tournaments, stables, promos, feuds, rivalries, themes.
This is a massive cornucopia of wrestling knowledge.
If you want to exercise your right to figure out what's the deepest you can go into the WWE Network archives, go here to cagematch.net and find out what your wheelhouse is and go find that shit on the network.
They have stables listed and ranked. They have active times, they have ranking, they have voting. You can categorize them by name. Like this is great. We should have had this last episode. This would have been fantastic.
I'm looking at your laptop right now and I see 20 pages. Each page has 100 factions on it.
Right.
Now, granted, you're going to find...
It's going to be a lot of indie. It's going to be a lot of New Japan, All Japan.
You're going to find duplicates on here, too.
You're going to find duplicates. So you're going to find if the faction change members, they're going to relist it.
For instance, the only incarnation of the Horseman that matters is number 1.
That's it.
However, there's another faction.
Maybe the one with Barry Windham.
There's a faction with Lex Luger that's like 105.
They have all incarnations of the Horseman, which means the one with Pretty Paul Roma is a separate entity on this list.
The ones with Benoit and Malenko and McMichael are on the list.
And Jarrett and
I forgot about Jarrett.
Jarrett and Arn Anderson with a polo shirt on for the majority of the time. Yeah, it's like, yeah.
The fact of the matter is this.
When Kevin Sullivan was walking around with a Horseman shirt with 2 of the faces cut out. That's how you know it was real, fam.
It was all the way real.
I fool with you, OG Horseman, but you 2 little young cats, I don't mess with y'all.
I don't mess with y'all, fam.
Yeah.
Take that monkey shit off. You embarrassing
us. Shout out to Kai and Tai.
Oh, Sho Funaki.
Choppy your pee-pee.
SmackDown. Number 1 announcer.
Funaki. Taka Michinoku,
the pioneer and originator of the Michinoku driver.
Yes, he had such potential.
I mean, he had a move named after him. I mean,
I think he just got caught up in the fact that WWE has never really done light heavyweights well. They don't believe in light heavyweights. That's just the whole thing. Like, light heavyweights don't matter up there.
Dog, did we talk about... Because it's funny. I'm looking at this list from last week. Mm-hmm. No, actually, I think we talked about this afterwards. Paul Jones Army.
Yeah, we didn't name them. What we brought up was the original Legion of Doom,
the Millionaires Club,
yep.
Natural Born Thrillers.
Shout out to Team Extreme because they count.
Team Extreme does count. I think didn't we talk about them on the show though?
We talked about them in pre-production.
Okay, the New Blood.
We didn't name the Wyatt family. Me, of all people, I didn't name the Wyatt family.
It's funny how we champion for the cause, but when our back's against the wall, they just fall short.
Because they're not on the front of your mind because they're not being put there for with television.
All incarnations of Team Canada.
Blame Canada. It's not a real country anyway.
We'll end it with this one because anything else you want to dig up, you can dig up on cagematch.net. And mind you, we did our own research before we even found this wormhole of a website.
Right.
The network.
Shout out to the ECW's network.
That was
part of my wheelhouse, and I didn't even think about it.
Yoshihiro Tajiri couldn't even speak English, and he was part of it.
Didn't matter. He blew mist, and he kicked people in the head. When Yoshihiro Tajiri ended up switching to the black blowout pants instead of the blue and white kick pads, he became a complete savage, and that's when his character jumped from like a 4 to a 14 in ECW.
If I didn't know any better, I swear he took a 2-month hiatus to go train with Kenji Muto, the Great Muta.
Here's the crazy part. He was doing all of that stuff in matches with Super Crazy before that. He grew a little bit of facial hair and changed his ring attire, and he became like a Japanese killer.
He became the smaller version of the Great Muta. Even down to the 2 colors of mist that he could use per match.
Somebody hit us up and let me know, did Yoshihiro Tajiri and the Great Muta ever wrestle? I want to see that.
Great time to plug the socials. BrokenpencilBC at gmail.com, at BrokenpencilBC on all things social.
All things social. Use the hashtags at BrokenPencilLogic. You can't write this. Folk Life Shouted. That's FOKELYFESHAWTY. With the shit. WITDASHYT. What am I missing? There's one more.
There is.
There's one more. It's pop quiz time. But I've been drinking. So
I can't use that as an excuse. I don't want you to use that as an excuse. Go ahead.
I'm not using it as an excuse. It's just, you gotta tell
Broken Pencil Logic, you can't write this and mark my words.
It was Mark My Words. That's what it was. That's what I was missing. Mark My Words.
Those are the original 3. Those are the OGs. You can't forget the OGs of nothing else.
We don't use Mark My Words enough. That's what it is.
Mark My Words comes from, it's similar to chopping wood, which is going to be a hashtag.
That should be a segment too.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't have anything.
I'm going to allow you to bring back old Mid-South memories with chopping wood. That's how we gonna do that. You gonna take me down memory lane and educate me about Mid-South.
That might come with our mixtape for this evening.
Oh yeah, we got mixtapes this evening. We haven't even gone through the entire. We haven't gone through our agenda for the evening.
Shit. Matter of fact, that might fuck all this extra shit. That might be a good time to run it down for us, man.
So check it out. We got Hell in a Cell, Raw and SmackDown recap. We're gonna go through everything that happened with the pay-per-view and the follow-up shows. Kind of get you an understanding of where they are versus where we think they should be or where they could be. Look at what's coming forward. Try to fantasy book some stuff as we normally do, or at least give them a better option. Then we've been on social media as we always are, and I saw that WWE actually came up with a really cool concept. So whoever's in charge of their social media right now is doing a pretty good job of creating content.
It's probably Joey Styles on their surname, but go ahead.
Nah, he's supposed to be completely done, so this might be somebody from Coach's team. But
it might be Coach.
So we're gonna title this segment "When Idols Become Rivals." They posted an Instagram meme that had The Undertaker on it, and on there it said his top 5 rivalries, like his 5 greatest rivalries across his career. So I thought it'd be cool for us to make a mixtape where we take 5 superstars apiece and we list their top 5 rivalries.
Here's my problem. I didn't understand that it was 5 superstars apiece, so I just did my top 5 rivalries.
So now we got 2 mixtapes,
man. And then I also did a solid because I didn't do the 5 superstars in their top 5 rivalries. I did the bonus tracks, like 6 or 7 of them hoes.
See, we got bonus tracks. And on top of that, because we didn't both do 5 superstars, we created a completely second disc to go inside of the mixtape packaging. Top 5. We're going to do a top 5 dance partners list.
This is called out the trunk marketing right here.
This is out the trunk marketing.
So
top 5 dance partners list is basically this. 2 people you put together in the ring that cannot have a bad match. The top 5.
I like you. I'm just hearing this for the first time now. I like this.
Yeah,
I'm not mad.
It's pretty cool.
We have a YouTube channel that we just if officially just set up, but we haven't done anything to add any content to that.
Right.
These lists of mixtapes that we're creating will eventually end up on that YouTube channel. So all this stuff that we're talking about that you're listening to and you have no idea where it's coming from or how we got our information, you'll be able to have direct access to that here very soon. And
then we'll shoot it out all across the social media so that you can see what you're hearing. You can put some optics with your audio.
There that is.
So that's more than one sense working together. You can see and hear. You just can't taste.
Oh, I'm tasting this liquor right now.
I'm a grown man. You ain't gonna handle me no type of way. So, yeah. I believe that's everything we have, unless we just come up with some freestyle stuff, because we are good to just come up with some really cool concept off the dome. So
there's we were talking about like music, like incorporating music, whatever.
Right.
Next show, I'm calling this out right now.
Next show.
And anybody who's listening, please feel free to hit us up on the email at brokenpencilbc@gmail.com.
Make sure to put something in the subject.
Your favorite entrance music. It doesn't matter who it's from. We're gonna build a how many song mixtape? 15?
20.
Well, oh shit, 10 apiece. Okay.
Yeah. I like even symmetry.
It can be like songs that are like made songs for like that are from major artists. It could be things that came directly from the entity of the company or the corporation of the wrestler who's wrestling for that corporation. So, for instance, Jim Johnson, he's made some classic joints. CFOs have made some classic joints.
Right.
However, I can tell you the number one entrance theme of all time for me comes from a tag team, and that's Iron Man. For the Road Warriors.
Oh, I see what you're doing here. So no matter...
It doesn't matter where it comes from.
If a wrestler used it as an entrance theme, it's fair game.
Yes, so you can best believe, next episode, I'm kicking off my list with Iron Man.
So here's an example. So that's not my top one, but here's one of my choices off top. From ECW, Rob Van Dam's Walk. That's already on my list.
Yeah.
Spec. Walk. What do you say?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, that's how we gonna play it. So like when the Freebirds were using rock and roll music to come down, if that's part of your list, throw it on there.
Now, they were using Leonard Skinner, and I refuse to put them on my list, but I understand.
There are people out there who are gonna do that. I'm not.
Yeah,
I only identify with Bad Street USA, and that's it.
I understand why you would, but I'm with my man Suave on that one. Bad Street USA. So we come back with Hell in a Cell recap.
Yup.
And then we got to do our top. We'll just call it rivalries.
Yeah,
it's not even like top 5.
When idols become rivals, bro.
There it is. At BrokenpencilBC on all things social. BrokenpencilBC@gmail.com, and we'll be right back.
Going over to Seagulls, give me some hot chips, a cup of ice, and pineapple juice.
And that dude on the corner, watch out for him. He's giving out unprotected ass chair shots to the dome piece.
Bow.
Yo, we are back. BrokenpencilBC@gmail.com, at BrokenpencilBC on all things social. You find the socials, you find the hashtags. You find the socials and or the hashtags, you find us. Danger One, that's Wood, of course. And Suave Burgundy.
At Suave for mayor. The number 4, not the word 4.
Your mayor of Oak Cliff, Texas.
I do what I can for the people.
4 more years.
Campaign.
Hell in a Cell 2018.
Year of our Lord. Year of our Lord.
Out of nowhere, it's almost like that's like the Easter egg. You trying a whole episode to find that part.
Yeah. Year of our Lord.
We had a wild pay-per-view. That honestly, that the main card was only 7 matches.
Only. Run them down for me real quick.
All right, so let's start with the first Hell in a Cell match.
Okay, off the bat, the curtain jerker is a Hell in a Cell match.
The curtain jerker of the actual main pay-per-view was Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy.
My word, my stars.
People are always talking about the potential of Randy Orton. He is so smooth in the shit that he does that he looks effortless and almost unassuming and or unconvincing in what he does to whomever he's with. including someone who's been around with him for the entire time that he's been in WWE, and Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
The finish of that match came from a monkey bar spot.
Right.
From the top of the cell, Jeff Hardy swinging, attempting a swinging falling splash while Orton lay prone on a table.
And it doesn't look as bad till you realize exactly what he did. When you go back and watch it and really pay attention to what he actually tried to do and what ended up happening, it's like, ooh.
The move out the way basically solidified all things. Just damn.
Yeah.
Like if he hadn't moved, Orton probably would have gotten like seriously injured just from the fall, even though Hardy would have been protected.
Yeah, broken ribs. Easily.
Among other things, he might have gotten stabbed with some wood.
Oh, he got stabbed.
Speaking of stabbing.
In the quadricep.
Man, listen. Orton with that damn screwdriver.
Twisting it in the ear gauge hole.
I lost count at 4 revolutions.
Bro, my wife looked at me like, what is this?
I'm in the car.
Bro, my wife started fussing at me like I booked this. Like, I didn't book this. I don't know what they're doing. Just
I'm in the car. I pull over to
watch
the side.
in horror like I am.
I pull over to the emergency shoulder. I'm on the phone with the petty messiah. And we are both like schoolgirls watching their favorite star get murdered on a soap opera. Stop. Fam.
I don't know anybody with ear gauges to be able to ask them exactly how much or little that hurt. But it's still just, it's something you've never seen before. And in 2018, that's almost impossible to do with wrestling.
Listen, I have 2 holes in each ear that have, over the years, closed up. But I used to rock earrings, just, it was fashionable. You know what how cats used to do.
I still do. I let this rap life a little bit.
I mean, I'm sure I could pop them back real quick if I needed to. Nonetheless, each ear, somehow, some way, got infected.
Oh, dear.
And me cleaning them out and dealing with the infection that was for each of my ears can only pale in comparison to the pain of watching somebody, or even being the person of the recipient of someone having a screwdriver put through a gauge hole and twisted to the point of tightness beyond the point of pressure and pain.
I mean, he's got silver dollar size ear gauge holes in his ear.
Crazy.
I'm just really trying to get an understanding of, like, somebody needs to let us know. If you have ear gauges and you're listening to the Broken Pencil Booking Company podcast, we need your firsthand testimonial about what that may or may not have felt like.
This will not include a voicemail. You will be a damn guest just to describe this pain.
I just need to know. We just need to know. We need the firsthand experience.
To quote straight shooting Stevie Ray, suckers gots to know, suckers need to know.
Gots to know, needs to know.
Number 2, we have Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair.
Finally!
For the single one-on-one match for the WWE Women's SmackDown Championship.
Finally.
No hoopla, really. It was just a built-up match based off of disrespect, where Becky Lynch was built to be the heel, and the fans, the WWE Universe, refuse.
I like this. I like when the WWE Universe actually puts their foot down and says no.
No. Enough's enough.
With something that should have their foot put down. Like the whole Roman Reigns thing, that's kind of like it's an internet fad. Because you don't have a real reason to put your foot down with Roman Reigns, because there's nothing wrong. Other than the booking.
The best thing I can say about Becky Lynch's position right now is that it's misapplied broken pencil logic. This is what happens when you don't listen to the fans and you do what you want to do. This is what happens.
They're not buying that whole Charlotte thing.
Neither is Becky.
They want Charlotte as a heel. They want Charlotte as a smarmy, spoiled, entitled heel. They want Becky in her current form, and they want Becky on top. They want new stars.
Here's what's crazy. A lot of the interviews I've heard from Charlotte Flair say the exact same thing. She wants to be a heel.
That's her birthright.
Maybe so, but here's the deal. Flair was always gray area. If you go back and look at it, we thought growing up he was a heel.
Flair was cool.
That's it. Yes.
He has a cool factor, but
cool and rich.
Cool and rich.
Yeah.
So that's where the disconnect comes from. Once you start talking about being rich so long, people will either aspire to be you or they become disconnected. So that's how you become a heel. Now you look at Charlotte Flair. Yep. What about her says face?
Absolutely nothing. She comes in with the name of Flair.
For the queen from the Queen City.
And everything.
I'm wrestling royalty.
Everything about her.
I'm a 6-foot Amazon. Blonde hair, blue eyes.
More athletic than my father, who was the greatest of all time.
Ex-fitness model. I'm from lineage. Like, tell me where you're supposed to find face in that.
This is the equivalent of someone going to another organization and walking in with the last name Anderson. Because we know Anderson is a fabricated name within the industry. But the family and the bloodline and the lineage speaks for itself. But it will never hold a candle to a Flair.
All I'm saying is, even when she got drafted, transferred, shifted to SmackDown, she only got a pop because she was so over as a heel. It was like, hey, we like her because she does her character well, not because we want her to be a face.
Exactly. I agree.
Nothing about Charlotte Flair and her current presentation or current storyline says she should be a face.
Now we may or may not touch briefly on this particular feud here before the show is over with. I kind of think that we need to, but it remains to be seen.
We do whatever we need to.
Yeah, we do whatever we want to do. It's Broken Pencil.
Yeah,
bitch.
This is true.
Yeah,
Subscribe.
Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre versus Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins. What I like most about this whole matchup is the fact that Dean and Seth let it be known that this is not 2/3 of the Shield. This is Dean and Seth versus Dolph and Drew.
This is so stupid.
Is it? Because this is kind of going back to what I was saying about the whole Shield thing to begin with.
But they're doing it in such a weird way. Like, okay, they are the Shield, then they're not the Shield. It's not 2/3 of the Shield. It's just Seth and Dean. But when we decide to put, tactical gear on, we are the Shield. Like, stop. They're the Shield.
I think that's convoluted.
It's stupid.
When you're talking about the apparel,
it's terrible.
That is absolutely terrible. But it does go back to what I was saying, that eventually we're going to get all three of them against each other.
But and I don't disagree with what you're saying. I'm just like, if you don't spend the time, and what I mean by time is television time, you don't spend the airtime promoting them as the Shield, then why is it gonna matter when they all wrestle each other?
Agreed. I have no answer for that.
Stop trying to make... If they're all on the same page, they're all together, it's three of them against the entire heel roster, which still doesn't make sense because none of the faces are helping them out. So it's three of them against the entire roster. It needs to be Shield 24/7. They shouldn't be faces, but that's a completely different conversation. If they're going to be faces and it's them against the world, then it needs to be them against the world at all times, and it should be Shield, and more Shield. Stop making differences because now it's a tag team and Roman's in the main event. It's still the Shield.
Now, all that aside, let's talk about the finish.
Awesome.
Give me the play-by-play of that finish of that match.
So, Seth Rollins takes Dolph Ziggler up to the top rope. We're getting ready for the Falcon's Arrow combo. Superplex off the top rope into the Falcon's Arrow.
Not so fast.
Claymore kick. Seth Rollins goes to sleep. Dolph Ziggler falls into the pin.
3.
And still, your tag team champions, Drew McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler.
Everything that we just talked about, more so everything that Suave just bitched about, went away in that moment. That entire...
The match was great. The logic that goes into explaining... Well, it's just Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. It's not the Shield. That is the stupidest shit I've heard. Because now, you know what that does? It cheapens the victory of Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre on paper. Because you could have just said they beat the Shield. Because that matters. Saying those two beat the Shield matters. Saying they beat a hodgepodge of Dean and Seth doesn't say much.
And you know what? That now that I think about it, on the flip side, if you go back and think about their first run, Shield 1.0, Seth and Roman as the tag team champions were coming to the ring as Seth and Roman the Shield, not Seth and Roman individually, your WWE tag team champions.
So there you have it.
Before we go to the next match, backing up to Becky and Charlotte, it's just not to be brushed over the fact that Becky won clean 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the fucking ring. As she should have.
I have no problems with how that finish happened. I have no problems with her stiffing her on the handshake afterwards. It goes right with the character. If you're going to try to actually get her into a heel position, then she has to do more stuff like that because she has to come off at some point like a deplorable human being.
In a socially acceptable generation that we have where everything has to be socially acceptable, there is absolutely no reason for Becky to be a heel or be booked as a heel with the way that the match ended and the thing that she, where she turned away Charlotte and what she said is disrespectful.
You and I both know that. But because Pops wants it a certain way, and in certain places there has to be heel face interaction. If Becky's going to be a air quotes heel, she's gonna have to be seen by people as a deplorable human being. So lack of sportsmanship and being, for lack of better purposes, lack of better definition, a jerk. She's gonna have to do more of that.
Facts.
So I mean, it's probably gonna get her more over. But I'm here for it, whatever they decide to do, because I've been championing for Becky for a long time.
All right, AJ versus Joe.
Yay. That should have been in the cell.
I not only should have been in the cell, that was a quintessential TNA main event. Quintessential. With the exception of time. So just the way, like, it was a very clean, methodical match.
Okay, true.
It was straightforward face, white meat baby face versus dirty dog heel. Dirty dog heel Joe this whole story is all about the family. And everything in this match led to Joe winning the match. But in the fact that we have to have this conversation that AJ won because the referee counted Joe's shoulders and didn't see AJ tap.
I don't understand. Okay. Let's say the roles were reversed.
Okay.
And
before you say that, before you say your point, let me add this. WWE over the years has done, depending on your perspective, an equally as great job as they have done, equally as piss poor job as booking the face in a superstar role, regardless of who it is, when they have a title that matters.
So I guess before I even get to the point, here's my question: who is in charge of SmackDown?
Ultimately, I believe it's Vince. I would probably,
of course, I feel like the buck stops with him on either brand.
Right, of course. But I mean, if you're going to say,
who's in charge of creative?
I think it was going to be Shane.
Because there's what you can really tell the difference between SmackDown and Raw. Fluidity is one thing, character usage is another. But on SmackDown, there seems to be a dedicated push to establish heels and faces with no
gray area.
No gray area. And I think people can thrive in the gray area, as you would see if they booked Becky Lynch in the gray area. But
see, and you said if they book her in the gray area. The sad thing is, she is right now technically in the gray area because we see they want her in the black.
That's because the universe is putting her in the gray area.
I agree, but the universe is also not booing her for whatever reason at all.
Because they want her. They want gray area characters. So they're saying everything that Becky Lynch is saying that's supposedly, in wrestling terms, supposed to make her heel, makes her face with that crowd. I've been passed over. I work hard. I do what I'm supposed to. I do what I'm supposed to when I'm supposed to, and I'm not getting the opportunities. People sympathize with that.
Put my belt on. Ray, you can raise my hand now.
That's like, but because of who she's doing it to. She's doing it to someone who has made a name for herself in WWE by saying the exact same stuff.
Insert Naomi in the place of Charlotte.
Then she's a heel.
Exactly.
If you do that to Naomi, it's straight up heel move because it's a whole lot of underlying themes with it that make it really heelish. It's other stuff that we can look at and pinpoint and say, okay, you watch Sons of Anarchy, then now this makes sense.
Now this becomes Ric Flair versus Rocky King, and there's no Flair in this equation.
This becomes like Lex Luger versus Ron Simmons with Harley Race Cut promos.
Man.
Like, yeah, it takes on a different life.
Do your Googles. Check that shit.
I'm just saying, it becomes there's a different dynamic at play. But at this point, it's just Charlotte's getting all hers back in her face because that's what she does to people.
Word up. So what's I guess we can ask now. What's next for Joe and AJ? We've had
another match in Australia at the Super Showdown.
It's a clean match right now, right? Just a straight up one-on-one match.
Yeah, probably.
So they're running the gamut of a.
They're not going to change the title over there either.
Yeah, well, there's going to be. I think there's going to be some title changes over there. Do we wait till after Super? I'm having a thought here.
Okay.
Do we need the Super Show is in 2 weeks, right?
Is it? I don't have an
13 days, I believe.
Something like that.
Do we do a pre-show for the Super Show, or do we just wait and recap the Super Show?
I don't know.
There's a reason why I'm asking. We'll come to that once we finish this card.
Give me your reasoning, and then I'll be able to give you a better answer.
When we finish the card, we'll talk about that.
Okay, that's what's up.
All right. So I think AJ and Samoa Joe, there has to be a stipulation on it, even if it's at the Super Show.
It's like no DQ, no count out. It's like it's still another match though.
It's gonna have to be Iron Man. Like something about this rivalry says Iron Man because they're bringing TNA into this fold.
But you've done an Iron Man recently. You're kind of running out of gimmicks because you ran through all those gimmicks with Shinsuke Nakamura.
You fucked up by not putting him in the cell.
You've done all this stuff. You basically, like, AJ's working the same program with Joe as he was with Shinsuke as far as the match number and the stipulations they're running through.
Truth be told, like, looking at the match times, AJ and Joe was 19 minutes. Orton and Hardy was about 25 minutes. 20 and 25 is 40. That's 45 minutes that you could have put those two in a cell to start the show.
I do feel like that match would have benefited a lot from being in the cell.
And Orton and Hardy could have been in a cage.
I think even that finish probably would have gotten over more after a Hell in a Cell match with those two for as physical as they are.
Something tell how many? I don't know how many more matches we can come up with, gimmick matches. I think the last new gimmick match we came up with was the Elimination Chamber, which has been modified since its inception. And there's no way you're gonna put two people inside that. I don't know. Maybe
Joe's just not gonna win the title anytime soon.
Maybe a new match is coming. I was gonna say that too when we start talking about if we talked about SmackDown. They're putting emphasis on AJ in these days. And by my calculation, if he holds on to this belt, that puts him breaking Brock's record at SummerSlam of next year. So by the time we hit SummerSlam of next year, AJ would have held the belt longer than Brock would have held the belt, but that they're giving him credit for breaking CM Punk's record.
So where is he day count wise now? Because really the only number that matters him breaking is 434.
Which is Punk, right?
Yeah, once he gets to 434 with the WWE Championship,
that's all that matters to us.
That's really all that should matter to them. Now, breaking Brock's record doesn't really matter because it's with a different title, and there are far less defenses.
Let's see.
As Wood pulls up the statistician board, you are listening to the Broken Pencil Booking Company, starring Wood and Suave Burgundy. Follow us on social media at BrokenpencilBC on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Email us your questions and comments at brokenpencilbc@gmail.com.
As of July 28th, you asshole. He was at 262 days.
262. So count the rest.
So from July 28th to...
Call it September 28th just because.
Well, I'm saying from July 28th to August 28th, we'll take it from 262 to 293. Mm-hmm. From August 28th to September 28th, we'll put him at 323.
So
that puts him 100 days, 111 days out. So that's roughly not even 4 whole months from September, which puts him at October, November, December, January. That's Royal Rumble.
Didn't we say on a previous episode that somewhere around the Royal Rumble I expected a title change?
I still don't.
And here's the reason I'm saying. Because if you see what's going on, and I guess this is kind of burying the lead for us talking about SmackDown later. At the Super Show in Australia, Miz and Daniel Bryan are wrestling each other, and the winner gets, and they made it very clear not to say next number one contender. It said future WWE Championship opportunity. I have Miz beating Daniel Bryan again by hook or crook, and Miz being the one to dethrone AJ Styles.
Funny you should mention that, because I don't have Daniel Bryan doing shit until the Royal Rumble.
Exactly.
Broken pencil logic, people. This is how this works.
And until I hear a news blurb come across that says he's re-signed a multi-year deal, I'm not even willing to go that far. But if he re-signs by Survivor Series, he's winning the Royal Rumble.
So, do you think that he's working right now without a contract? Because they say his contract was up this month.
He's probably like doing 10-day extensions. I don't think his days come up yet.
You think he's like a rock?
So we'll probably get that announcement sometime this week then if his contract is up this month.
You think it maybe is like a Rock or a Jericho handshake agreement?
Maybe while they negotiate, but if that's the case, he's gonna lose every time he shows up.
Every time he shows up, yep.
You're not gonna be booked to do anything positive.
And as we bring that up, great segue. Miz and Maurice versus Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. Truth be told, don't give a fuck.
Didn't expect much.
Just don't give a fuck.
Maurice was 5 months after giving birth, so I didn't expect much. I really didn't expect her to do anything. So
5 months post C-section.
Kudos to her for like an amazing bounce back, because I know how that goes. And like, bruh, 5 months?
It ain't the truth.
That ain't normal, fam. That ain't normal, bruh. So for her to be in the shape she's in, doing the things she's doing 5 months after giving birth, absolutely phenomenal. With that said, didn't expect much from this match. Didn't get much.
Truth be told, I mean, she couldn't be 100% healed from just having a baby or C-section.
Nah, you been fucking around busting stitches doing that.
And you're going to be out for a while because you decided that you wanted to work a pretty strong match. 13 minutes, which means you're in the ring for about half of that. Ronda Rousey versus Alexa Bliss. I must say, Rousey is leaps and bounds better than I ever imagined her to be at this stage in her career.
It's all good now. Now you need to line up the heel factory. You need to line up the challengers and just keep knocking them down. Now I'm good.
Poor Alexa Bliss was taken off all house shows following this match.
She legit hurt, or she just needs some time?
No, I think she might be. It might be a situation where there was an injury that was nagging that got re-aggravated.
Okay,
but I don't think it would happen in this match.
I feel like she's definitely earned some time off. Because she's been so hot for so long. But now, if she's gonna be out of the title picture, you can let her rest before this dream match.
The last thing you want to happen is her be the female version of Dean Ambrose or Seth Rollins, where you're overworked and to the point where your body shuts down.
This is true. Because
now we have a returning face, Nia Jax, back. But she is appearing to be booked, and I hate to use this as a segue, but it's going to have to be. She's appearing to be booked as a woman's version of Braun Strowman at this point.
Who, Nia Jax?
Yeah. Her return on Raw being alongside Dallas's own Ember Moon.
Right.
While in Dallas, and we weren't there at the show. Matter of fact, let me talk about that real quick. Let's chop some wood.
Somebody about to cut a promo.
let's chop some wood. We got one
Here's
more,
where the show gets interesting, folks.
We got one more match to discuss on this pay-per-view. We will get to it, but now we're going to chop a little wood.
Okay. On the wood block, swing, and chop.
First episode of Chopping Wood.
Fuck you, Ticketmaster. You bitch-made sissies.
Good God, man.
You motherfuckers decide that on a moment's notice, you want to beef the price up because someone who is a regular Suave Burgundy to your sites and to your events, you want to beef the price up based on his IP address. And this is pure speculation. I'm not accusing anything, but it just it seems legit because this is a social media driven generation, right? And you use analytics to do everything, including buy advertising.
Right.
You sons of bitches drive the price up, and we want to buy. We want to buy. When we buy, it's not available.
Everybody got to get their slice. So the extra fees that they add in, that absolutely equate to.
You know what I call those fees?
What do you call those fees?
Fuck you fees. Because basically that's Ticketmaster's way of saying fuck you to everybody who buys tickets from them.
This is true. So like a $50 seat costs like
fuck you.
Costs like $95.
Fuck you.
All right. Look. It's a digital ticket, so there's no will call. There's no courtesy involved.
Fuck you. There's no courtesy.
I'm gonna charge you $50 to send this to your app.
Tell me there's a courtesy in anyone ever telling you fuck you.
And you ain't parked yet.
Tell me a fuck you that you met that you liked.
I can't discuss that on air.
I'm telling you, my wife has never told me fuck you, and I liked it. Not once.
Yeah, nah.
Been married 5 years plus. Never heard fuck you from her once that I actually liked it. So, me looking at these arbitrary fees that seemingly go to absolutely
extra
nothing.
Arbitrary.
Every time I see those fees, I hear fuck you,
but
consumer.
After we watched Raw, we realized we would have blown money and we'd have just been drunk and belligerent and probably gotten put out.
I took the money that I was going to spend on the ticket and fellowship with my co-host, my sahab, my partner, Suave Burgundy.
At the coffee table.
The Petty Messiah.
Yup.
And my man Bugs, representing McCullough Cigars, on my dime. And still had money left over. Barbecue grill, liquor.
Flat screen.
Victory. Enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
that show was heavily papered too. So
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, do your thing. I'm gonna come with the factuals later, but finish your rant.
Just you wait.
Finish your laps.
Heavily papered?
Finish your laps.
The tickets that we wanted in the air, we didn't even want ringside seats. We wanted game seats so we could politic with the folks that support or may at one time
we didn't want to be bougie.
Support the Broken Pencil Booking Company.
We didn't want to be bougie just for the sake of sitting ringside.
We could have stunted, but stunning doesn't get us with our people. Nah. Our people who we stunt with don't even appreciate us stunning.
The pencil pushers are in the 100s and up.
And we were trying to be either behind the announce table or diagonal from the ring post off camera.
So just so I can give them some context. We went shopping for tickets. Now we were 4 deep. So what I pulled up was at the time
we wanted a 4-pack Shakur.
Yeah. So there was a couple of different 4-packs. There's like a Cricket Wireless, if you guys want to throw some sponsorship this way. There's a Cricket Wireless 4-pack that they were selling. It was like 4 tickets for the price of 3, and then there was another 4-pack where they would sell groups of seats together to encourage people to bring out the entire family, because at the end of the day, Raw, SmackDown, all these live events, they're not marketed for people like us. They're marketed at families. And it's an expensive venture to take 4 or more people to a WWE event. So,
especially when it's not a major pay-per-view and or festival.
Yeah, it's a regular TV taping. So it's a hot 3 hours and it's on a Monday. But you had some ringside available. Like really, you had like section 17, row D still available like the Friday and Saturday before Raw. 300s are open. 119, 120, all of those are still open, which those are pretty. 100, 120, 119, those are pretty decent seats. as far as vantage point. So that's what's open literally the weekend before the show on Friday. Go through some things, and all of a sudden the 100s disappear when it's time to buy. So that's where, you know, we opted out. It's like there's no point in spending. The value wasn't there to sit in the 300s. Let's just be honest. The value of our experience times what was going to be spent was like, nah, we could put this money to better use. The hundreds, we were ready to do that. We had already pooled the money to do that.
Then came Monday.
Matter of fact, it wasn't even Monday. It was the next day.
So this was on Friday. No, it was 2 days later. So
2 days later.
So it was on
right.
Friday. On Sunday.
On Sunday, an entire different section of 100s opened up.
For damn near half the price.
The show was incredibly papered. Then I had shout out to Ramon of the Urban Advocate, who carries the Broken Pencil Booking Company podcast on theurbanadvocate.com. So that is another venue for you to go and enjoy. My man,
thank you.
For you to go and enjoy Broken Pencil Logic. Hits me up because, you know, we are corporately plugged in on some levels and lets me know that tickets are being given away. Papering.
You bitch you.
So we just kind of came to the realization that the show was heavily papered, and that if you've ever been to a WWE event, sometimes you see people get moved down from high sections, or you get what the industry refers to as plants. People who are they're camera ready, they're exuberant, excited, they look young, they look like the demographic that they want to aim at.
They may or may not have signs, but they at least are wearing merch.
Yeah, they have merchandise. They look within a certain age demographic. They're usually of a certain either race, creed, or color, and it's a group of them, and they will move them around to sit in unoccupied areas to boost fan interaction.
And if you think it's a game, go back if you have the DVR, go back and look at the upper bowl and how many times you did or did not see the upper bowl during the Raw taping on Monday.
A lot of people got moved around on Monday.
Motherfuckers. Boy.
I mean, it's a common practice. Like, even when I went for the road to WrestleMania, when Daniel Bryan actually had his return to SmackDown, the night before at Raw, you saw people getting moved around into more advantageous camera-ready spots. That you would, if there was a group in like 328 who was just turned all the way live, they bought the $30 seats, but they look like they would probably do well on camera. A production assistant would go get them from there and pull them all the way down to the floor and put them in a camera-ready spot, because you need people to look a certain way.
On the flip side, there was none of that shit the following night that he's talking about, because Daniel Bryan had announced his return back to the ring earlier that day.
Yeah, SmackDown and Raw are two totally different crowds.
So not only is it two totally different crowds, whatever seats you had left immediately got picked up with that announcement, probably at a premium.
Because Road to WrestleMania, that was a super show, so you had the opportunity to buy tickets for both nights together. Otherwise, you had to buy them separately, which made them more expensive. I was lucky enough to get combo tickets, so I had the same seats both nights. But for those who wanted to go to SmackDown and not Raw, wanted to go to Raw and not SmackDown, we had no problems filling all of the seats come the next night. So
all that in that explanation and color to provide to the situation that was what we were looking for in the experience that we wanted to have that we end up getting.
Right.
To end my segment, my first inaugural segment of Chopping Wood, by saying, Ticketmaster, fuck you.
Good night, Irene.
It's not to say that you won't ever get $1 of mine, but if I can help it, you will never get $1 of mine. If I can help it.
In order to smooth this situation over, which I don't really care about smoothing it over, you guys could really stand to update the ticket purchasing process and possibly find some ways to trim the fat when it comes to...
What a bigger way to say... What a bigger way to say fuck you than to say Use our antiquated bullshit to give us more money for the sake of us being the broker for the shit that you want to go attend.
You know what this means? This means that the Broken Pencil Booking Company just needs their own personal ticket broker.
BrokenpencilBC at gmail.com, at BrokenpencilBC on everything. Damn it. Listen,
if you are a ticket broker and you are plugged in and you want to get the clientele that will change your entire Rolodex, BrokenpencilBC at gmail.com.
At BrokenpencilBC on everything.
Everything.
On the wood block. Swing, swing, swing. And chop, chop, chop.
The main event of Hell in a Cell.
And we segue from that bullshit into this bullshit. First of all, let me start off by being the guy to say that this did not need to be in the cell. This was a wasted opportunity.
You could have had 2 matches from SmackDown be on the cell and would have been perfectly fine because no one would have remembered that both matches that were in the cell were on SmackDown.
Under the old pay-per-view schedule, wouldn't this have been a SmackDown pay-per-view?
I don't know because there have been so many.
I forget the order. Like they changed it right after WrestleMania,
and they've removed a couple too. So
right.
I mean, that's really like it's a coin flip to say whether or not it would have been. I digress because SmackDown's been coming up short in the last few pay-per-views anyway. I mean, there are people that need to be on the show that haven't been. At the same time, there are stars that are on Raw that haven't been on the last 2 pay-per-views counting.
I thought this was going to be a good idea with going forward, saying you were just going to have every pay-per-view be a co-branded pay-per-view. I think there are a lot of people that are suffering from they don't get pay-per-view time, and subsequently they don't get television time because there's nothing to build towards.
On the flip side, the best thing that's ever come from this incident or this instance of pay-per-view being shared is starting an hour early. Because now we have to worry about being up past 10 o'clock to watch.
I got to get used to that too because I tune in late. I be like, I missed the first cell match. I had to go back and watch it.
It's cool because, I mean, thanks to the network, you can restart from the beginning as soon as you log in. So
on demand.
Yeah.
But getting into this main event.
Braun Strowman versus Roman Reigns, Hell in a Cell, Mick Foley special guest referee, and it's for the WWE Universal Championship.
They've had last man standing matches. They've thrown each other off of parking structures, strapped to stretchers. They flipped over ambulances.
A grieving Roman Reigns puts out Braun Strowman with an injury that takes Braun Strowman off TV, but not Roman Reigns. During this whole we're going back.
They've had better matches than what they put on, and
they've had better run-ins than what they put on.
Because the level of violence that they have displayed for each other in previous matches, you were expecting something catastrophic and colossal to happen within Hell in a Cell.
And the best thing that happened to this match was an unassuming Brock Lesnar popping up mid-match to kick the quote proverbial, actually the literal door off the hinge. F5 Braun Strowman. F5 Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns onto Braun Strowman, which was, I don't know if it was an accidental, on purpose, a rib. I don't know what the fuck it was. It was quite hilarious either way.
You know Brock doesn't care. He does whatever he wants to. Fight me.
And his beard's weird. Let me say that.
Your stash is trash. No play for Mr. Gray.
Paul Heyman pulls out the pepper spray,
I'm getting sick of watching Paul Heyman use pepper spray.
I use that term so loosely because it's more like warm water.
It's eye flush.
That is a rib that going forward, anybody who gets hit with Paul Heyman's pepper spray must say to Paul, "You got me." While he's getting hit, that's all he's got to say, just to validate the rib, is "You got me."
It's just, I expected so much more. This didn't need to be in the cell. I think I would have been less critical of it if it was just a no DQ. Well, it couldn't have been no DQ. Well, it could have been because they didn't have a finish.
Well, I mean,
just make it a regular match.
Yeah, the match is the Hell in a Cell match is a no DQ match.
Because what spots did you see in that match that made it so it had to be in Hell in a Cell? Like what spot?
Not a one.
Other than Dolph and Dean and Drew and Seth climbing the cage,
Not a one.
fighting on the top.
Let me tell you, that was completely unnecessary because it did not involve the participants of the actual match. So unnecessary.
So Seth and Dolph took a completely unnecessary bump.
Completely unnecessary bump. Somebody could have gotten bad. More so, not somebody. Rollins could have gotten badly injured,
right?
Because he has an ACL replaced. He was walking with a limp as it was.
It was.
There was no reason to send both of those guys from fist pops to the top of the head off the damn cage from the side
with an overly choreographed fall, overly choreographed double fall.
Why is
that's just dangerous for the sake of dangerous, and it doesn't make any sense.
Why is McIntyre and Ambrose on the top of the cage after Ambrose was gone for 9 months, getting rehabilitated and yoked the fuck up? Once Rollins,
it was a poor decision.
Once Rollins and Ziggler went through those announce tables, you still had Ambrose and McIntyre on the top of the fucking cell, and nobody cared. Or nobody remembered because nobody paid attention to that.
Here's the thing, bro. Like, you didn't have to put the match in the cell. You could have dropped the cell mid-match. Kind of like an ode to Mankind and Kane or something. Or ode to Austin and Undertaker at King of the Ring 98. You could have dropped it mid-match and then it came into play.
You could have because
you didn't do anything with it.
You could have had some creativity go in where
you didn't have any.
Because
that's the whole point.
Because the whole thing is you're building McIntyre up to be greater than the sum of his parts. If you had Ziggler and McIntyre going to do a run in, and you want them to protect Strowman,
I'm all for building Drew McIntyre, but if you're going to build him to forsake Braun Strowman at some point, this is the dumbest shit ever.
Have him come in under, like, both of them run as the cage is dropping. Have him roll under the cage, lock the cage door, take the keys, and the referees can't get out. Nobody from the outside can get in, and Mick Foley's already in there with Strowman and Reigns, and then you have you have Rollins and Ambrose on the outside trying to figure out a way to get in. And meanwhile, you got a 3-on-1 match for the Universal title.
I was just disappointed by it. I expected more.
Now we got the Money in the Bank contract gone for the first time in a match that no one lost or won.
And they didn't that's the part that doesn't make any sense.
They didn't even address it on
Monday. They don't address it. You had a Money in the Bank cash in, but there's no winner. So what happens to the briefcase?
You have no winner in a Hell in a Cell match, which is a no DQ match.
And then his consolation prize is you're going to get a triple threat. What does that doesn't make any sense.
And sadly, we just gave you our review of Raw, too, with this review of Hell in a Cell.
Pretty much.
So
we ain't got to talk about Raw.
We just did.
And we kind of gave the recap of SmackDown because I told you about Miz and Daniel Bryan in Australia. What else happened on SmackDown worth talking about? Uso still getting disrespected.
Still.
Naomi still getting disrespected.
Becky.
Asuka ain't doing nothing.
Becky and Charlotte.
Becky out here winning.
Becky out here winning, causing wardrobe malfunctions.
She kicked Charlotte Flair out of her top
on purpose. To the point to where Charlotte. It's no secret that Vince McMahon is not a fan of wardrobe malfunctions because you chose to wear the wrong stuff to the ring and had an oil spill. That being said, Charlotte knows that because who her daddy is. The entire time Becky is kicking the shit out of Charlotte, Charlotte is worried about one thing: stuffing her junk back into her top. So much to the point to where Becky looks like she's trying too hard to whip Charlotte's ass, and Charlotte's trying too hard not to sell the idea that she's stuffing her junk back into her shit. And I believe that actually there was more to SmackDown now because we can't shit 100% on SmackDown that way because SmackDown.
We can't, but we should because there's so much that could be done better.
I just think my biggest issue with
they got Joe out here acting like a creep. When's the last time you seen Asuka on TV?
When's the last time you see Asuka on TV mean something?
Naomi's steady getting disrespected.
I really think they're spending more time.
Asuka ain't wrestled in how long? Well, now she's wrestling. Now they got a tag team match set for the Super Show. But
They're spending more time bigging up this Australian Super Show.
Asuka's been backsliding since WrestleMania.
And now you blow your wad. You blow your wad by making it public knowledge that Shawn Michaels is making his in-ring return after an 8-year hiatus from retirement at the hands of The Undertaker, the most respected man in the WWE locker room ever.
How much was that check, though? Like,
hold on.
Screw the storyline.
Hold on. To wrestle in Saudi Arabia. Now we can talk about this check.
Okay, so check it out. Crown Jewel is the next Saudi Arabia event, and it's in November. It's November 2nd,
It's
correct?
not even 3 weeks away from Survivor Series.
Right. But in the growing age of the WWE network, these overseas super shows are going to become more frequent. They're going to become bigger things.
More so, the Saudi super shows.
The Saudi super shows are going to start dictating some storylines because there's a lot of money involved. So, Super Show is going to have, supposedly for the last time ever, air quotes, Triple H versus The Undertaker.
Now, there's no air quotes with that. That's going to be the last time ever we're going to see that. We will never see that again.
I mean, they're going to wrestle in a tag team match, so it's not the last time you're going to see them fight.
One-on-one.
Okay.
One-on-one.
Because being technical and being specific is something they're so good at.
If you want to accurately call the action on that one, that will not happen again in a one-on-one environment.
Okay, riddle me this, crime fighter. So the promos going back and forth has been from a trio. It's been Shawn Michaels cutting a promo. He appeared one time, and then Triple H and The Undertaker doing responses back and forth like in alternating weeks. And I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be a fan for the match. I'm gonna watch it. But you know what the funny thing is, like that no one's talked about, and we're gonna be the first ones because it's Broken Pencil Logic. You know what the really funny thing about this whole angle is?
What's that?
The fact that John Cena called out The Undertaker for about 6 weeks, and he never showed up. Triple H got him to show up twice in a month. Like dead ass.
But
The Undertaker's been on Raw twice in the last month.
Now here's what's even crazier. That match is main eventing a Super Show, right? It's obviously the main event because
is it?
Yeah, because
is it?
AJ and Samoa Joe are not going to main event anything.
Is it?
Roman Reigns and the Shield.
No. It is the Shield
as a whole. Well, I said Roman.
Don't you Josie and the Pussycats this. Don't you do it. Don't you turn this into Josie and the Pussycats.
There is a reason why I did this.
No. This is the Jackson 5. This is not Michael and Company. Don't you do that shit. Don't you stunt on them, son. Don't you do it.
Michael Hayes and the Freebirds.
It's not Michael Hayes and the Freebirds. It's not Ric Flair and the Horsemen. It is the Shield.
The Shield is going against.
Don't do that. It's not Farouk.
Strowman.
It's not Farouk and the Nation. Don't fucking do that. Don't be disrespectful.
Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, collectively known as the Shield.
The Shield versus the Dogs of War.
That's what they're called now?
Loosely. No one's going to run with that.
Fuck.
No one's going to run with that, but they said it, so I'm going to make it stick.
The Hounds of Justice versus the Dogs of War. That's probably going to be the curtain jerker.
That's terrible. No, it's not.
One can hope.
No, it's not. That is not jerking any curtain.
Jerking the gherkin, maybe, but not jerking the curtain.
Well, that has nothing to do with me.
Oh, man.
My goodness.
But how big was that Shawn Michaels check in Saudi Arabia? I can only imagine because they got Brock Lesnar to sit side by side with Roman Reigns.
That's what I'm hey, on the cool, that's what I'm saying. Like, how much was the check? Because you got Brock Lesnar to fly to Saudi Arabia. And then you're essentially gonna get Shawn Michaels out of retirement. There's no way you don't. Like, they've been pushing too much in that direction. So Shawn Michaels is coming out of retirement for a tag team match. And you have Brock Lesnar in the midst of a UFC training camp to come back and wrestle a triple threat match that he's not going to win.
Mind you,
if he wins, do they riot? Not in Saudi Arabia, but watching back home, do you get like reaction videos of people rioting?
I think we get the guy from New Orleans who had the big eyes for Daniel Bryan or for Undertaker.
I want Wrestling Dad to film his reaction if Brock Lesnar wins.
Where is the I Hate Cena guy that goes to Dallas, Oklahoma City, Austin, San Antonio, and Houston? Where is he at now?
Where's racial profile Red Hat?
We know who you are, fam.
We've seen you.
We were right behind you.
We've seen you.
You bitch, you.
Oh, we went to school with people like you. We know your stuff.
Yeah. Y'all are known as cops now.
Yeah. Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker.
Colonel Rob Parker?
No, Sergeant Buddy Lee Parker
I heard
of
you.
the State Patrol.
I heard you. All right.
That's unfortunate.
So just like that, we've recapped Raw, SmackDown, and Money in the Bank. We did
that a lot faster than I expected,
bro. We actually led up to the Saudi Arabia pay-per-view, which will have a show prior to that.
Of course we will.
And we also just kind of gave a prelude to the Super Show, real quick.
That ought to show you how disenchanted we are right now. This is a long way away from April, fam.
And we chopped a little wood. I don't know.
Wanna chop blade?
Fuck you, Ticketmaster. One more time. We'll be right back. We need a drink break and all types of shit. We're coming back with mixtapes. Much better discussion.
Ticket brokers, hit the inbox. Sponsorship packages, hit the inbox.
BrokenpencilBC at gmail.com. At BrokenpencilBC on
all
everything.
Social. Everything.
We'll be right back.
You are tuned into the Broken Pencil Booking Company. BrokenpencilBC at gmail.com. BrokenpencilBC on all social media platforms. We appreciate your listening.
This is that's the commercial break, right? Fucking name.
That's the commercial break.
That right there is the fucking commercial break.
I mean, my voiceover game is out here in these streets. I've done work before. I need to do some more work. Anybody want some voiceover work? You can get this work.
Our last segment of the day. Is going to talk about our mixtape, man. We always have mixtapes and different lists and things of that nature.
I got to talk. I got to tell them how I feel.
Well, tell them how you feel, son. Well, tell them why you mad, son.
Look, it's when idols become rivals. So look, we explained in the beginning of the show, WWE actually did something right. They posted a meme on Instagram showing The Undertaker and then outlining his top 5 rivalries of all time. We took the initiative here at the Broken Pencil Booking Company to say, you know what, we're going to take this further and we're going to randomly select 5 top superstars and do their top 5 rivalries of all time, in our opinion.
Now, with that being said,
right.
I've only taken it upon myself to give up a nice mixtape of my favorite 5 rivalries.
Yeah, Wood completely ignored the memo, so I'll be doing a top 5. I have chosen 5 unique characters over the lineage of my wheelhouse and outlined their top 5 rivalries as they exist in my opinion.
On the flip side, I guarantee you some of the same people that I'm going to name off in my list are going to be some of the same people that my co-host is going to be telling you about their top 5 rivalries.
Right.
Like, for instance, one person that I named on my list was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
That's how that worked.
So, is he on your list?
Yes, he is. He is one of my 5.
This is very easy. So I can kick that off by saying one of the people, and this is in no particular order, it's just a mixtape. You put it together how you want to.
Right.
These will eventually end up on the YouTube channel. Since I said Austin, I'm going to start off with Austin versus McMahon. Your top 5 rivalries starring Stone Cold Steve Austin would be
For Stone Cold Steve Austin, in no particular order, The Rock, The Undertaker, Triple H, Vince McMahon,
which is on my list,
and one that people may not remember or may not know to put on his list. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
You went back to WCW with that.
I went back to my wheelhouse, fam.
Yes, you did. That's your wheelhouse is like 89, 90 up to about 1994 in WCW.
Actually, yeah, and we can add on 96, 97 to about
the Nitro era.
Yeah, the Monday Night Wars era is also in my wheelhouse. That's like my double major.
Let's see if I can get you another one on here.
Go ahead.
Another one on my list. I have Taker versus Foley as a feud.
The only reason I don't have that is because WWE did The Undertaker already, so I didn't want to replicate.
Well played. Okay, so there's still that's number 2 for me. Let's come back to how about Dusty versus the Horseman.
That is fantastic. I didn't do Ric Flair, but off the top of my head, as an added bonus cut, I can probably get you 5 for Flair. Dusty,
Steamboat,
absolutely Steamboat.
Funk,
I'll take Funk.
Sting,
absolutely. Cause I did Sting, so yeah.
So you have Sting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need one more for Flair. You could do Harley Race. You could do Savage. You could do Hogan.
I would only say Savage only because
Savage went across 2 promotions.
2 promotions, and it ended up with Flair being Mr. I fucked your bitch.
This is true. You could do Kurt Hennig.
I can't really do Kurt.
You could do Bret Hart.
I can't really do Bret.
You could do Roddy Piper.
You could do Piper. Piper went across a regional international promotion. Yes.
Yes, you could do Piper. Who else for Flair?
We give them enough already. That's more than 5.
Yeah, that is more than 5. But I feel like I wanted to give people an opportunity to choose their 5th.
Okay, so I'm going to come back with Sting. And one of my top 5 rivalries of all time.
Okay.
Or favorites, rather. Sting versus the NWO.
Sting versus the NWO. And I'm glad you said Sting versus the NWO because that gave me a chance to omit someone that I thought was going to make my top 5 Sting list.
Uh-oh.
No, for real. So you take the NWO, so that takes Hogan out. I don't have to have Hogan on my top 5 rivalries.
There you go.
Because the matches weren't great. So here's the thing. When I put this list together, I looked at it from the perspective of the storylines that they were involved in were good. The matches were also good to great. And they may have been in a rivalry on more than one occasion. So, for Sting, top 5 in no particular order. Ravishing Rick Rude.
Well, very well played. That was the rivalry that actually ended Rick Rude's in-ring career.
Yes, and it also helped jumpstart the Dangerous Alliance.
Yes.
Obviously, Ric Flair.
That's what put Sting on the map as a singles competitor. He was already wrestling as a singles competitor since Rock became the Dingo Warrior in World Class, and UWF got gobbled up by the WCW by and Crockett Promotions. Yeah, so. Yeah, Sting was already in singles competition, but Flair was the one that made him a made man.
Number 3, Lex Luger.
Best friend, his travel partner.
They have a dope
let's call it
anthology.
Let's call it spade a spade. People didn't really give Lex Luger any credit until it came to Sting. Like, as part of the Horsemen, he was just a young man that had a very good look and was very athletic, but could not wrestle to save his life. Meanwhile,
or cut a promo.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you insert Sting, and you have a somewhat heel best friend of yours, and people don't really know that was they were friends like that, but it always went back and forth between Sting and Luger, and you had other other rivalries that kind of mimic that, which is like one that comes to mind is Terry Taylor and Gentleman Chris Adams.
True that.
They kind of went back and forth with the exact same scenario as best friends, tag team partners, and then with somebody being late, and then that late person turning on the person for things, you can't blame me for it being my fault, and then turning into something that lasted for about a year or two, and then you can keep going back to that as being in a case of emergency, break glass rivalry. So
that was the third Luger. We got two more. Number 4 for Sting, Cactus Jack.
That started in Mid-South UWF because Cactus Jack Manson was part of the Devastation Incorporated, which we failed to leave out, or failed to mention, should I say.
No, we had Devastation Incorporated.
But we didn't have Cactus Jack as part of Devastation Incorporated.
I had never seen that.
Yeah, he was, as Jim Ross coined him, Cactus Jack Manson.
I do remember him being called Cactus Jack Manson, but that's when I would see him in World Class Championship Wrestling at the Sportatorium.
And then if you come back into the Crockett WCW days, he was I'm trying to think. Was it part of what's Kevin Sullivan? Was he managed by Sullivan then at the time? Because it seemed like, I want to say, like, it was anytime you saw Foley, you saw Abdullah. And anytime you saw those two,
like in like 91, that
ish,
kinda?
yeah, because there was a number. It was a few different times Sting was with Foley in the ring.
The time where I most remember it is like during Sting's WCW World Championship title run. So this is like 90.
Oh, he was the champion. So it's like 90, 91.
Yeah, that 91, 92 stretch where they had the Beach Blast pay-per-view match with the Falls Count Anywhere. That era.
Got you.
And finally, to round out the top 5 of Sting's greatest rivalries of all time, God rest, Big Van Vader. Beast.
Vader.
Beast.
The fact that we were able to watch the baby bull Leon White and we never saw him just get raw until he became Big Van Vader. Harley Race, I don't know if it was Vader's thing, if it was Stan Hansen's thing, or what the case was, or even if it was like, I don't care whose thing it was. Vader versus Sting, Vader versus Flair. Like, I wanted to put Vader versus Flair as a rivalry, but I couldn't because they really only had like 1 or 2 really good matches. But one of them knocked Flair's teeth into oblivion within the first 5 minutes.
Starrcade 93.
Vader was brutal. Vader was brutal.
Vader beat the piss out of people.
And Sting was with him for about 6 to 9 months.
And then he is how monster heels are measured. Like, for a long time, even in TNA, they had Abyss versus AJ Styles being the new Sting versus Vader.
And Abyss was he all he wanted to do was be the 6'7" version of Mick Foley, seemingly.
What else you got, boss?
Cena versus Orton.
Cena versus Orton.
I had that one because for the entire time of the the unified title that became the WWE World Heavyweight Championship? I believe that's what it was called. And Orton going with the Authority. Cena was always finding himself dancing with Randy Orton. And mind you, they both came into the main roster at the same time, which was, I believe, 2002.
Right.
And so they their paths always cross. And if you look at it in terms of not even them being in the ring together, but being with the company, Cena has 16 title victories right now? Was that title range?
Yes.
Orton, believe it or not, has 13. The only person with more than Orton right now who is active, and I put an asterisk by him, is Triple H with 15.
I can dig it.
That's a rivalry within itself. The fact that 2 people came at the same time and one person has 3 more title reigns than you have. So yeah, that's and there's some damn good matches on there, some damn good Raws with those 2.
Next on my list of hand-selected superstars in their top 5 rivalries, The Rock.
The Rock says, "Who's on the list?"
Triple H.
Damn good. That went back and forth
for years.
Yeah, went back and forth.
John Cena.
That spanned over the course of 2 years. I'm sorry, it was 2 WrestleManias, not really 2 years.
The first ever WrestleMania build that literally took 365 days.
From one WrestleMania to the next, yes.
A match booked the night after one WrestleMania that built all the way to the next one.
That became instantly the main event, the show closer.
Mick Foley.
The Rock and Sock, and the Rock not wanting to deal with the sock.
Yeah.
And
as Mankind, Mick Foley.
This was the birth. If there was ever a match there was a birth, or even a rivalry that was the birth of the unprotected ass chair shot to the dome piece.
Royal Rumble 1999.
Oh my God. Oh.
Brutal. And of course, you can't have this list for The Rock without having Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The match that possibly could have changed the course of wrestling history. It was the Crimson Mask. It was the hand raise.
Yep.
By Mr. McMahon after Austin beat The Rock.
Headlined 3 WrestleManias.
2 of them back to back.
Had one of them not ended up having some medical issues to attend to, they would have headlined 3, possibly 4 straight WrestleManias. They were that good. Truth
be told, if it wasn't for Austin's injury, we may not see The Rock in Hollywood in the presence that he's in, and they may be the 2 greatest competitors in the history of the business.
I think Rock still ends up in Hollywood, just maybe
this big.
I kind of feel like
it's kind of hard to say because part of being in the business is having a dance partner that complements your skill set. And the perfect dance partner for Rocky was Austin.
97 put Austin on a ticking clock, basically put him on a timetable. Like, he only had so much longer that he could go.
Right.
So you were gonna run into that at some point anyway, and they hadn't even really got to where they were going in 97.
Very, very true. Very true.
So that's just kind of how that goes. And then the 5th, who most people may not think of when they think of rivalries with The Rock, but he was one of the pivotal rivalries for The Rock when he was becoming The Rock. The world's most dangerous man.
Ken Shamrock. That was the birth year of the Attitude Era.
The Dusty Finish special. Every time Ken Shamrock would win the Intercontinental Championship from The Rock, something would happen.
Something happened that went awry.
And it went back to The Rock.
And Rocky was the chicken shit heel too. It was more so the fans detested him, and he was like, you know what, fuck you.
Die Rocky Die turned him into a savage.
Oh man, Rocky with the Nation. It was that's a really formidable list.
What else you got?
I got some B-sides for my mixtape though. For my top 5 rivalries,
I got two more superstars. Bust your move, and I got 2 more for you.
So I have, and I got a feeling if I know you in your wheelhouse, this one of these guys, probably the one specifically I'm going to say at last is on your list, Jerry Lynn versus RVD.
Damn it!
This is an honorable mention for my list because this rivalry spanned across ECW, WWE, and TNA.
Damn it!
And it was a great one because those matches were, pardon the pun, 5-star with the Frog Splash.
Right.
But I also have some more here that I'll run down for you in a second.
Sure.
You said, damn it, so I'm guessing RVD is on your list.
I tried to make sure I went outside the box and it wasn't all necessarily WWE or wasn't necessarily WCW, or try to reach outside of what people may expect my wheelhouse to be. But I am an ECW fan from, the 97, 98, 99. And
obviously I am too, putting this rivalry on my list.
Up until the closing of the company. So RVD made my list of hand-selected superstars in their top 5 rivalries just to kind of give some variation to the list. So, top 5 rivalries, no particular order. Number 1, Jerry Lynn. For obvious reasons, it's been chronicled.
Okay.
Number 2, Sabu.
The homicidal,
Suicidal,
genocidal,
scarred up freak. They are tag team partners. They are constantly beefing with one another.
Rob Van Dam was trained by Sabu's uncle,
the Sheik,
the original Sheik.
They are the perfect that. You ever seen how they do this whole tag team partners that hate each other routine? It's never been done better than it's done with Van Dam and Sabu.
Agreed.
Because they would fight each other till the bloody pulp, but if you got in the way, they would kick your ass twice
and then get back to business with each other
and then get back to fighting each other.
Man, listen.
Number 3, Jeff Hardy. Whew. Their series of matches over the Hardcore Championship and even the Intercontinental Championship, they didn't even really need a storyline. They just needed ring the bell and leave them alone.
RVD was only hardcore in the sense that he came from ECW. The fact that he smoked weed let him become the hardcore guy that he was while he held the hardcore title. Jeff Hardy was on All Things at the time, apparently, and according to him, and I say all things like syrup, painkiller, cigarette, weed, Hennessy, vodka. I'm on everything.
Everything.
I'm on everything.
Next, that would be number 4. Latino Heat, Eddie Guerrero. Same explanation as with Jeff Hardy. They didn't have bad matches together. They fought over championships. They fought
over the finisher. That's it. That's the whole story.
That was the whole reason.
Who had the better frog splash?
And I didn't care.
Truth be told, if we ever do the best gimmick matches or best types of gimmick matches, I could easily see this match getting skipped over, but at the same time, this deserves equal conversation with the best ladder matches of all time.
For number 5, I'm gonna go ahead and split this spot because I felt like it. John Cena, because of the story build that led to the first ECW One Night Stand.
Nice.
And I'm gonna split that with The Undertaker because the American Badass and RVD, for some odd, unknown reason, unbeknownst to anyone who would ever have booked that match, have uncanny chemistry.
RVD always seemed bigger than the situation. You put him in a WWE ring, he seems bigger than the ring. You put him in the ECW ring, he seemed bigger than the ring. You put him in the TNA ring, he just seemed bigger than the damn ring. There's never been another person that I've seen that just seemed bigger than the situation that was as small as he was. Not, and by no means am I saying he's a small man.
Because he's not.
He's 6'3", 6'4", 260 solid.
He's NFL linebacker size.
But it just seems.
But he doesn't wrestle like it, which is crazy.
He wrestles like a cruiserweight.
But he's he's Khalil Mack size.
And the only person I could think of size wise was I believe it was Mark Jindrak that was as big as Van Dam, where he seemed bigger than the situation.
Yeah, Jindrak's a little taller, but yeah, same, yeah.
Yeah, he just looks like because he's a wrestler that he's out of place. Like somebody else needs to be in that position, and it's just it translated to be awkward to look at, but at the same time it was poetic because he was just smooth. He was smooth in the ring.
Shout out to RVD's matches with Lance Storm and ECW too. They had some really good ones.
Man, pretty much any match, any rivalry that RVD had when he was the TV champion, because he was TV champion for a long,
just shy of 2 years.
Yeah,
just shy of 2 years. Then number 5. You got somebody else for me? You got another?
No. I'm done for now because the rest of mine are honorable mentions, like a B-side.
Gotcha. So number 5 on my hand-selected superstars in their top 5 rivalries, when idols become rivals, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ooh, yeah. Dig it.
His top 5 is pretty easy. It's pretty easy, But when you think about the criteria that we set, it does get a little more difficult because it's not just going out and having one good match. It's having a match and a story and things that come together.
Longevity with your dance partner.
You need classics.
Steamboat's on there.
He is. He's number one.
Flair.
He is on there.
Ooh.
Come on.
Bad Luck Terry.
Nice try, Terry. Hogan is on this list. Hulk Hogan is on this list. They have what is highly considered as the greatest WrestleMania storyline ever.
Over a woman.
The greatest WrestleMania storyline build of all time. So you guessed 3 of the 5.
Give me the other 2.
The Ultimate Warrior.
Oh, man.
Cracking him over the head with the scepter at Royal Rumble 1991. And I understand they only had one match, but the story that led to them finally getting in the ring and then Savage basically getting the greatest match out of the Ultimate Warrior that he had ever had. Yes.
Wasn't that almost like a half hour?
It was like 45 minutes.
Oh, wow. I realized it was that long.
The match is so long that on the Coliseum video tape, they cut it.
Oh, no.
It's edited on the home version because it wouldn't fit on the VHS.
tape.
Like, bruh, you couldn't record in SP mode. You would have run out of tape. That gives you a glimpse into how old. Yeah, I understand. I know. Now, I know you're looking up the time on this match. So
that's exactly what I'm looking at.
I know what you're doing. I went to school, people like you. I know your stuff.
I got a feeling that this is Coliseum's time on this match.
That's what 20 minutes is what made the Coliseum home video, but no way in hell. Like, fam.
We are definitely going to go to the WWE Network archives for this one. Not tonight, but the
match is probably edited there too, but
it'd be worth the check out, nothing else. Because, yeah, you're right. It's easily the best match of Ultimate Warrior's career.
And number 5, Diamond Dallas Page.
That's a good one. That's a really good one.
Showing the longevity of Savage and his ability to make talent even in the late 90s.
Which put Savage at probably just at about 50, maybe.
Nah.
But I know Paige was pushing close to 50.
I think you're putting a little extra weight on these guys' driver's licenses birth year, but I mean they were older because the whole
they were definitely in their 40s. They were definitely north of 40.
I give you 40s. I give you 40s.
Yeah, they were definitely north of 40.
But yeah, Diamond Dallas Page rounds out that list. Their story and their matches, especially Halloween Havoc 1997.
Yeah, that's really, the one I'm thinking about right there.
Yeah, they really went in.
They not only did they go in, but they went in
Spring Stampede. They went in Great American Bash. Like they went in for all of 97 and half of 98.
But the 97 era was strictly surrounded with NWO everything, and there was no NWO focus on that match whatsoever because it was only a matter of months that Savage became part of NWO after that match.
It's greatness.
I have
what you got. What you got for your B-side?
I like to call this the B-side because if I was doing 5 rivalries that were my favorite, the B-side is always considered to be the better side, but these are things that you probably wouldn't be aware of. These aren't singles. These are album cuts.
Gotcha.
The Freebirds versus the Von Erichs. Now, it may be low-hanging fruit, but this rivalry spanned across...
You got to educate people.
2-3 brothers. The loss of 1 or 2 members of the Freebirds going to other organizations, and you still had in the penultimate had Buddy Jack Roberts.
If you've never watched any World Class Championship Wrestling, it's almost Hatfields McCoys-ish.
Yeah, you WWE Network's a great place for it. Freebirds versus the Von Erichs on the list. If you are a wrestling fan, you've heard of it, but if you never watched it, do yourself a solid and go watch it. Because the Freebirds came in one by one as faces to World Class. which they've always been heels anywhere they've worked, but they one by one came in to become the Freebirds and at World Class, and eventually end up turning on the Von Erichs. Let's take you back to Mid-South and Crockett Promotions, the NWA, the Rock and Roll Express, and the Midnight Express. I remember week after week watching the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express go to a TV time remaining, and we'd never see the end of the match. And then the show from the following week ends or starts with the ending of last week's show. And Jim Cornette had the tennis racket then. This is when he's fresh in from Memphis, and this is what began Jim Cornette's trek. And this is not even the Stan Lane version. We're talking about Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton, not even Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton. Going from that, I have Jim Duggan versus Devastation Incorporated.
I need to see that.
So,
I need to see Jim Duggan in like non-WWE form.
So there were two shows that highlighted Mid-South Wrestling in the Tulsa area.
Okay.
Shouts out Tulsa, Oklahoma. Rest in peace, Big Crutch. We had the Mid-South Wrestling program that was filmed at the Irish McNeil Boys Club in Shreveport, Louisiana. And then you also had Power Pro Wrestling. Now, the one that everybody saw nationally was the Mid-South show. That's the one we had all the flags above the ring and like the 50 people in the stands or whatever. But Power Pro Wrestling came on Sunday afternoons. It was hosted by Jim Ross and Bill Watts' son. And that show, you would see a lot of house show matches that was overdubbed by Joel Watts and Jim Ross. And I remember vividly Jim Duggan going against Kamala at a match in Jackson, Mississippi, which was part of the territory, because the territory was basically from Jackson down to New Orleans up to Shreveport, as far south as Dallas, but they'd have events in Houston at the Astrodome, and then, of course, all of Oklahoma. Jim Duggan getting burned by Akbar and Kamala. And
how many people has Skandar Akbar burned in his life?
And to the point where Duggan had to shave off half his beard, and it was doing promos from a hospital bed.
Fire your ass up.
Fire your ass up.
Up.
And he, of course, Duggan and One Man Gang was infamous.
Gang, 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 gang.
Gang, 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 gang. And of course, this was all before Duggan came to World Wrestling Federation and became the very first holder of the title of Royal Rumble winner. If you don't know that, do your Googles. That was on the USA Network.
1988.
My man. Next up, Terry Gordy versus Dr. Death Steve Williams. Now, a lot of people recognize them as being a tag team. But
I do. That's how I identify with them.
Before they were a tag team, they were going at it for the UWF strap in Oklahoma.
I remember them being a tag team who ran through Japan and then came to WCW and ruined my childhood by beating the Steiner brothers.
Yeah, and they were legit badasses. Like,
yeah, I was like, no. The Steiner brothers never lose. What is this? They done clipped Scott. What happened? Bro, why are they tag team champions? Now I go back and look at it as adult. Like, they kicked the shit out of people and they deserve whatever they had.
Terry Bam Bam Gordy did not go out of his way to make friends or fans. And he also did not like force any one way or the other down people's throats. However people wanted to cheer, they cheered. Meanwhile, Dr. Death Steve Williams at this point was a clear-cut babyface. He was the face of the company that was Bill Watts' boy, because they were both from the University of Oklahoma, and that was his guy. And you know, by the time UWF closed its doors, the rivalry for the UWF title, if it didn't involve Terry Gordy or Dr. Death Steve Williams, the only third party involved in that was Big Boss Man at the time, who was known as Big Bubba Rogers.
Big Bubba Rogers is my name.
And I don't even remember if Jim Cornette was his manager there in UWF.
I don't know if it was UWF, but I know they do have history.
Yeah. Going back to the Power Pro Wrestling thing, one rivalry that I always saw that never got the light of day because it was black on black crime in its finest was the Junkyard Dog versus Hacksaw Butch Reed. Not the natural Butch Reed, Hacksaw Butch Reed. So you had Hacksaw Jim Duggan, you had Hacksaw Butch Reed, and they on occasion they did a tag team thing, but it wasn't often that they did the tag team thing. But they were both, their nicknames were both the Hacksaws, and they did their own separate thing. And on occasion, you would catch them in a house show being the Hacksaws. But JYD and Butch Reed was a definite heel. JYD was over as a babyface, and prior to him going to WWF, you would see him in what's called a ghetto street fight. And they did a couple of them.
The fact that you call it a ghetto street fight, just calling it a ghetto street fight is just
the only thing they didn't do is bring a gun loaded to the ring and pop a bullet. All things that were no holds barred back then, you saw. I mean, naturally Abdullah wasn't there, so you didn't get a fork or whatever. But I'm sure there was like some international objects
or
hepatitis or called brutal. But yeah, the ghetto street fight.
I didn't spread the story. I'm just.
And I don't even remember what the rivalry was over. But long story short, it was a brutal, long-lived rivalry: Junkyard Dog versus Hacksaw Butch Reed. And that is my B-side there.
That's your B-side? I got some bonus tracks in myself. So during the Broken Pencil text thread before this show, I ended up coming up with a subcategory that was going to be a nice little bonus cut for myself. So look, top 5 dance partners. These are 2 people, when you put them together, they cannot have a bad match. Now, I do realize there are going to be some people that I name on this list that have other dance partners that they can't have a bad match with, but this is what I wrote down off the top of my head. This is what I'm riding with. So now this opens the door for you, the listener, on all social media at BrokenpencilBC to give me your dance partners, or give us your dance partners, so that we can retweet you.
Look, you're already yelling at the radio at this point. Why not?
First of all, don't yell at me, fam.
Yeah, I don't like your tone of voice, cuz.
I don't like it. Yeah. Lower your tone. Watch your tone.
Put some respect on it. We are your
Sprinkle
elders.
some respect on it.
Listen, hit us up when you have those moments where you yell at your phone, your stereo, your computer
on all streaming platforms.
At BrokenpencilBC on your socials, BrokenpencilBC@gmail.com. Let us know whatever you yell. Let us know why you mad, son. We want to hear all that.
We atone for our mistakes, but we also like to have differing points of view. So if you have something that we may have omitted, or something that you feel very strongly about that we should include, speak with us. So here's my top 5 real quick.
Run it.
Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero.
One word: Dominic.
Dominic! I'm your father, Dominic! Those 2, to me, even when they botch shit up, they're incapable of having a bad match, just because what they're botching is some shit that regular people can't do.
Rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero.
Rest in peace, Eddie Guerrero. See you soon, Rey Mysterio.
Yes. Oh, welcome back, Ray.
Yeah, we didn't even go over that piece of news. Rey Mysterio has signed his contract for a return to the WWE. Office Pool for me says he returns at SmackDown 1000, and then by the time Crown Jewel comes around, he's wrestling Adrani Cien Almas.
Okay,
that's my Office Pool.
I'm with that. I forgot what I said. Who I said Andrade was going to be end up dancing with, but I kind of like that idea. Go ahead though.
Number 2, Flair and Steamboat. There's no argument here. Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat don't have bad matches.
No, and they at one point, if I'm not mistaken, they were U.S. Tag Team Champions in Mid-Atlantic.
See, I would have to go back and see that.
Yeah, I believe that was late 70s, early 80s. Matter of fact, I think it was around the time that Flair came back after the plane crash.
I tell you this, health concerns aside, if Ric Flair and Ricky Steamboat walked out and were locked up right now, you'd watch.
Oh man, let me tell you something. Ricky Steamboat looks like what wellness should not look like, and for a 60-year-old, that man is in shape.
If Ric Flair get to slapping his biceps and lock up with Ricky Steamboat, you're gonna watch.
Quickly.
Straight up.
Who else you got?
Number 3, RVD and Jerry Lynn.
We can't say enough about it.
We just chronicled that. I've never seen them have a bad match.
And they did this across 3 organizations.
I love the ECW series. Like, their matches in ECW are like, they're poetry in motion.
They basically had no rules, and they abided by the rules.
It's just awesome. HBK and Triple H.
again, two best friends. You can't go wrong when you have your best friends in there.
They trust each other.
That's it.
They're two consummate professionals. They trust each other. They're both immensely talented. I haven't seen them have a bad match, and they have wrestled in every type of feasible, surmisable set of circumstances.
And the storyline wrote itself. You kicked me out of my own organization.
I'm living in your shadow, even though I'm a multiple-time world champion, because I'm not as air quotes charismatic as you are.
And number 5,
AJ Styles and John Cena.
Let me tell you something. Was that Royal Rumble 2017?
Mm-hmm.
That match was that.
They haven't had a bad match yet.
You cannot call a match a classic when you first see it. But if you go back and the match stands the test of time, that match then becomes a classic.
Right.
That match can hold a candle to anything. And if I'm not mistaken, that match was also designed to combat, was it Okada Omega 1? Because it was 2 to 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks after Okada Omega 1 at Wrestle Kingdom.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay.
Because it was at the Rumble. Wrestle Kingdom was at the beginning of January, so about 3 weeks after Wrestle Kingdom.
I mean, you gotta do your thing, fam.
And they did everything that people complained about Okada Omega. They did everything that they didn't do, which the number one thing that people complained about with Okada Omega was keeping the match in the ring. And AJ and Cena kept the match in the ring, and the match was clean the entire way. There was no controversy.
I've never seen them have a bad match. There's another honorable mention I'm gonna throw on this list just now that you mentioned that, because I've seen KO, Kevin Owens and John Cena have that similar chemistry. I've never seen them have a bad match. They had actually a couple.
They had 3 good matches,
3 great ones in a row. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Oh, best friends. That's Triple H and Shawn Michaels right
Kevin
there.
Owens and Sami Zayn don't have bad matches together.
I mean,
regardless of how they're being booked, regardless of the perception, when they get in the ring, they have fantastic outings.
Truth be told, like I think Steen Erico, I don't know if they ever had any rivalries that went against each other in the independent scene, but just from what I saw in NXT and what I saw in on the main, I would love to see anything that they had prior to coming to NXT with relation to beating the piss out of each other for the sake of a friendship gone awry.
I can dig it.
What we got for the next show?
I think we'll decide when we get there.
That's a good enough synopsis for me. Close us out, man. Take us to the house.
Well, heads up.
Oh, wait.
Kick out at 2. False finish.
Yeah, false finish like a motherfucker. So we've been showcasing all this local movement music that we have going on, and I forgot that I'm even like dropping cuts on a couple of songs from my man M. Slago. Shouts out M. Slago and Gerard Javey. Gerard Javey's got a project coming up, and he's got a heater with No Other Flood, and I happen to drop some cuts on that joint. It's called Knowledge Born, and we're gonna close out with Knowledge Born and be on the cut. So there's that.
That's what's happening.
Take us to the house.
Pencil pushers. Time's up. Heads up. Pencils down.
Yes, but that is not just. I was unaware to be examined on the mathematics.
Well, you can't do physics without mathematics, really, can you?
And I feel shame. I understand the physics. I understand it.
But you can't really understand the physics without understanding the math. The math tells how it really works. That's the real thing. The stories I give you in class are just illustrative. They're like fables, say, to help give you a picture. I mean, the math is how it really works.
Louis Patterson, Jersey City, Star 6, Noah Flood, Gerard Javey, peace to the God, K-Son, Allah. Start here, Allah.
You already know what I do, man. Murray to fun, no joke. Let the good smoke crush in my lungs. All you little is done. This the new Sharif. It's what I do to eat, moving real and speed. You know the type of time I'm on. Slime through that firearm, polishing my firearms. No reason why to be alarmed. I let you live on the arm. Don't up the break. raising other ranks. For my books waiting in the tanks, niggas inside waiting with the things. What's your life like? Hide to send me in the off-white trench. Dining room got that stench. About the blood, I stop from 1 to 9. Let me do it one time from 1 to 9. Let me do it one time from 1 to 9. 1 to 9. 1 to 9. Man, knowledge born, God.
Cause it like a doctor, 40 fracture, God body opera with keys. Knowledge guys drop to their knees. Jay come around and we don't freeze. I'm from the city where the crackheads drop plus degrees. Slow Texas just started rocking Wallaby.
Say a law, you act bar, we have 100 guards at your neck. No man should have this much power, just call me Malcolm X. The universe will be the family crest. For the oppressed, slow down the stress. Had to flip these 7.5 ounces I invest. Fast and pray for the day I cut out the gate. Set religious hang destroy power, saw bridges with the quickness. Too much swine in the system, I ain't tripping. You gon' get him, did nothing, well, go ahead and kill him. Then I don't sugarcoat the dope, I'm a true and living.
Let me do it one time from 1 to 9.
Knowledge ball.
Let me do it one time from 1 to 9.
Knowledge ball.
Let me do it one time from 1 to 9.
Knowledge ball.
1 to 9.
Knowledge ball. Knowledge ball. Knowledge ball.
Yo, rest in peace to Sahir. Rest in peace to True Asia. Rest in peace to Free Will. Rest in peace to DJ Wiz T. Rest in peace